And so careers are made off of cases like this.
Okay.
Like, you understand, Fannie Willis is going after not just Young Thug, she's going after Donald Trump as well.
Is our lyrics, in terms of what we just discussed, is it directly connected to the YSL case?
Well, so what's going on with the YSL cases, the district attorney, Fannie Willis, she's going to use, she said that she would, well, in the affidavit, let's go back. So the affidavit, you can read online, and in the affidavit, the district attorney basically pulls some lyrics from Young Thug, where she basically says that this is correlation to crimes that were committed in YSL.
Got you.
There's one particular lyric from a song called Anybody, I think that's the name of it, we can fact check, that Young Thug says, I didn't commit the crime, but I had something to do with that body. And that's a lyric that's actually in the affidavit. And so Fannie Willis, she's considering using those lyrics to say, okay, this is, he's admitting something, he's admitting a crime, right? And so she did a press conference months ago saying that the First Amendment doesn't protect rap lyrics. And in a sense, she's right, because we've seen over time and time again that rap lyrics has been used in court cases to convict rappers or charge rappers with certain crimes.
Yeah. And the lyric is, I never killed anybody, but I got something to do with that body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got the streets on my back, carry it like I'm moving a body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the a particular lyric that you said that she'd be using against Young Thug.
She's gonna they pulled that particular lyric and put it in the affidavit, as far as saying that this is evidence that the prosecution is saying that Young Thug put a hit out on someone.
Yeah.
And he's bragging about it.
He's admitting it in this.
He's admitting it on record.
This is a song called Anybody by Young Thug.
Yeah.
What do you make of this, right? What is art, and what is just honestly just kind of recklessness too,
Yeah.
If you are doing legitimate crimes, what was the code back in the day? You had a low profile. You take it back to the Italian mob. It was about being low. But like you said, there's generations that are a little bit more in front of the camera, and but what's your thoughts about that? Do you think that's fair for her to use that lyric, or do you just let them know that?
I don't think it's fair. I definitely think that, rap is the only genre of art where you can say that someone is saying something on what we can consider a piece of art and use that against them. It's interesting because there was a white woman, and we can do some fact checking on this as well as far as her name, but there's a white woman who wrote a book about how to kill your husband. Mm-hmm. And she wrote the book and she killed her husband. Like, she killed her husband, right? Okay. So, but that book wasn't used in court against her, but she wrote a book about killing her husband. And so when you think about pieces of art, there isn't many cases where art is being used as evidence in criminal cases, unless it's tied to rap or tied to hip hop. We've seen it done with Snoop in '93 when Snoop was charged with murder. They used lyrics from Murder Was the Case against him. Of course, Snoop was acquitted, but again, lyrics were used in the court case.
Right.
So we've seen it happen time and time again where rappers are being used, rap lyrics are being used in court, but we haven't seen this with other art forms.
Yeah, it made me even think about, there's definitely a color conversation in terms of black artists, but I thought about Eminem. I think he was in trouble when he used to rap about certain things. He used to rap about killing his ex-wife, and that was a conversation too.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about this Young Thug case a little bit more. You think Young Thug is gonna beat this?
It's a lot is stacked up against Young Thug, only because what it seems like what's happening. The prosecution, they're basically saying that he was the head honcho.
Yeah. He
was the ringleader. So if he's the ringleader, there's no one else who can he tell on. Like, there's no one else that he can say, okay, this person was responsible for this. And so they're building a case against him. From what we're seeing now, they're building a case against him. And so they have witnesses who were willing to testify against him.
Yeah.
And so a lot can happen between now and the end of the case. Right now, they still haven't finished with jury selection. Like
Right.
they've been 2 months in, well, 3 months in, and they haven't finished with jury selection. So this is a case that's probably going to last up to a year. It's going to take about a year to finish this case. And a lot can happen between now and the conclusion of the case. Some things can happen in Young Thug's favor where, if evidence from, was retrieved illegally by a cop, the judge can throw it out. And so, that's, the evidence can be, something where it's, okay, you can't use this evidence because it was achieved or retrieved, illegally.
Right.
So there's some things that can happen between now and then that could help his case, and there's some things that can hurt his case.
Right.
But right now, with him facing 20 years and the way the prosecution is pretty much gearing up to say that he was the guy, the ringleader,
Right.
it doesn't look good right now.
Yeah.
But so much can happen between now and the end of the case where he can get a little bit more leverage.
Yeah.
But a lot has to happen for that
Right
to
now,
happen.
it just seems like he might get that 20.
Well, he might get the 20 or they may give him 10. It just depends.
Like a
Is this
deal.
what the judge is up to the judge of how many years he's sentenced. But with the affidavit and all the crimes that they're charged him with, he can face up to 20 years.
Yeah. Just even hearing you talk about that, I'm just like, why would one even get themselves caught up in that at that height in your career? How much was it tied to tied to actually making money? Was it profitable with how they were running the things, or was it just out of pure ego and feeling like I can't be touched?
So you have to understand a lot of these. So when you have to look at a lot of these crimes that they're charging him with happened almost before he became famous, or like during his rise to fame.
Got you.
You're going talking about going back to like 2013, and 2012 before Young Thug became this global sensation. So the FBI, they've been building this case for roughly a decade.
Why did they take so long?
Because it's that's what they FBI do.
They want to really stack it up.
They stack up everything against you, and then they wait till the right time to capture you. They
What
build
you
up.
s- Go ahead.
They build up enough evidence. They get enough witnesses. They put everything in line, and then they get you. That's just basically how it works. It's like it's not a overnight thing. Like you watch TV dramas, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna catch this guy in 30 minutes or an hour. No, it's similar to The Wire, where it took them like an entire season for them to capture. I think the Avon Barksdale crew. That's kind of how it is with real life. Like it takes a long time, and so they've been building this case against Young Thug for roughly over a decade, probably about a decade. They've been like tracking him, and so if you read the affidavit, it's like this is stuff that's happened like 2014, 2013, that they're like bringing it up
And
now.
now they're bringing it.
And so they're like, and it's like other members who have different cases. And so what they're doing is like with the RICO charge, they can bring everybody in at once and say, okay, this is a crime organization, and saying that, okay, this is numerous crimes tied to this particular organization. But they've been tracking Young Thug YSL for years.
Okay. So just a real kind of a question attached to that, right? If the goal is to stop crime, why does one take so long to allow somebody who is doing crime to continue to maybe commit other crimes? And then you mentioned one thing about it being the right time.
Yeah.
Why is now the right time to get Young Thug?
So what they do is play the long game, right? They can arrest you now and say, okay, arrest this person on a gun charge, and okay, he may get a year or two, then he's out. But it's like, you're right. They should, when someone commits a crime, they probably should just say, okay, let's just go ahead. If this is such a dangerous organization, why didn't they stop YSL 5 years ago?
Right.
Why didn't they just stop them if we knew in 2015 they were committing these crimes? Why wait till 2022 to actually bring charges? And so basically they're playing a long game. And so they're like, okay, we'll give them enough leeway to commit this crime. Okay, now they're basically just taking notes. All right,
It seems very targeted.
Yeah, it's definitely.
The reason, just it's like, why would you? That's what my mind is like, okay, you're supposed to stop crime. So if someone's doing something, let's put an end to it. But it seems like, no, we want to watch them hang themselves
Yeah.
so that we can, I don't know. I guess the benefit is, I don't know.
But the benefit is you get them for more years. So
But
if you,
what is that? See, I'm taking from a humanity approach. So
Okay.
people that's listening,
Okay.
like, does that make you like? Why does it make them feel good that like I'm locking someone for 20 years? Is it financially beneficial to the someone like the FBI? Like, what's their motivation?
Well, you gotta understand it's a game as well, right? It's really, just like, if you're in a crime organization, if you're really doing crime, you feel like you have motives. Prosecution, cops, they all have motives as well. If you get a prosecutor who can, this is a big fish, right?
Yeah.
And so careers are made off of cases like this.
Okay.
Like, you understand, Fannie Willis is going after not just Young Thug, she's going after Donald Trump as well.
Got you.
In an entirely different case that's deal with voter suppression. So, she's going out after big fishes, right? It's an ego thing. It is. It's like if you can capture this person and say, okay, as a DA, and this is your job to capture people to get the violence off the street.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I got, someone who is one of the biggest perpetrators of violence.
Yeah.
It's something that's it's like a notch under
It's
your
your
belt.
flex.
It's like a notch under your belt. So for her, it's like for the district attorney, for the FBI, for cops, to get someone to say, of this magnitude is definitely beneficial for their careers.